Welcome, one and all, to the Link to the Past Randomizer 2022 tournament. My name is Esmar, and I'm joined here by Esper Hub. Esper Hub, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right. How you all doing?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. I'm ready for this race. We're seeing Group Y, FuriousMagic versus saltyphry here. Now, this is the first time these two are meeting in their group stage. I believe FuriousMagic has yet to lose a match, and saltyphry has gone 1-1 against both of the other players in their group. So Fry's definitely got a little more to gain here, but FuriousMagic is definitely going to try to keep that winning streak going here.
Yeah, exactly. The more wins you get, the more you seed it into the tournament, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
I can neither confirm nor deny that. But yeah, our mode here is, as you can see at the top of your stream, is hard open. So that is going to be our regular open seed. No inverted or key sanity wackiness. But we are going to have our specially modified item pool. So we have silvers as an item, non-progressive bows, 3 sword upgrades capped, only 1 shield upgrade. I think most of the heart containers are removed and replaced with pieces of heart. It's no half magic, no mail. It's a little tougher than usual.
Yeah, with that being said, I have seen some wacky hard open seeds lately, especially in the qualifiers, so the seed is liable to give us all the surprises today.
Yeah, we do see some divergence right off the bat here. Fry going with the Link's House start, and FuriousMagic going straight for Sanctuary.
So yeah, the way you open up in a run like this is to your preference. Some people are more comfortable with Uncle pulling out the tree for tier 1 prize, and that's 20 rupees. That's gonna be money in the pocket, ready for the bottle merchant the moment they traverse into the Kakariko village.
Yeah, and we get a bomb drop there from the dancing cucumber.
That's
Both of those really nice to have early game.
Oh, and Crab Prize just giving us more bombs too while we're at it. So yeah,
this is actually paying out pretty well for FuriousMagic here. That's one of the things. It's not the only reason you go Uncle first, like Fry's doing, but it's definitely one of the things that, it gives you a couple extra checks before you get to CAC. Maybe you get one of those triple bombs. But with those pulls, we're sitting pretty here.
Yeah. It's a very excellent care package for the start of the seed, because you're always looking for some bombs to crack open the walls, you're looking for rupees to pay off the vendors, and so on and forth. So getting that out the way very early in the seed is always a welcome sight.
Yeah, and it does look like we have 2 Light World pendants, which is always a potential sign of a kind seed. Or no, that's the opposite. It's not what you want to see.
I was gonna say,
turned around here. Yeah. But yeah, those dungeons are usually easier. We like to see crystals there because those are ones we have to do. But yeah. FuriousMagic gonna be getting into Kakariko pretty soon. Got held up a little bit earlier with the crab and the log tunnel.
yeah, if you're not careful, the crab can be a little bit pushy, trying to skitter away from you.
We've got our first treasure trove of Kakariko here. Fry didn't end up getting those bombs, interestingly enough. I guess just didn't check the crab pull.
Yeah, he did not check out the crab pool at all, if I'm not mistaken. He just went straight for the merchant, and I think he's just gonna go ahead and straight up buy the bombs himself.
Yeah, well, he's going to the merchant first in case he gets bombs here, and then he's gonna check here in case there's bombs here. We're getting a lot. I think there are only like 4 or 5 heart containers in the entire pool, and we've already seen 2 of them. So that's interesting. But yeah, he's going to go here and buy those bombs because You just want to make sure you have them. So that's a little bit of time lost there. We do find the gloves there in Kakariko Well.
Yeah, all we need now is a Moon Pearl and perhaps a Titan Smith or another hammer. And that'll be our Dark World access for this seed. And we get 300.
Yeah, as far as... Yeah, gloves are actually of the sort of major early game progression items, they're kind of the one that shake things up the most. As compared to like finding the hammer or something like that. Because the hammer doesn't do much in the light world since it's a dark world item, but the glove does put Zora in logic, so that's technically on the table now without flippers.
And with the way of the tea giving us like 600 rupees in Kakariko Village alone, that may incentivize our runners to start making their way towards there.
Yeah, for sure. The other thing that might become something is if we find a fire source and the Book of Mudora, that is a potentially full clearable desert palace. So the glove does open up a couple things in the light world that these runners are gonna have to be aware of. We're probably just gonna see our standard movement here, gonna go through South Shore. Maybe somebody decides to skip South Shore in favor of something else. We can go up the mountain and check the first handful of checks up on the mountain with just the glove. It's all out of logic without the lamp, but it's an option.
Yeah. It's one of those weird routes to take, especially when, in item density wise, South Shore is a lot more compared to just going up the Death Mountain with only just a glove.
Yeah, so far just the glove isn't really enough to really shake up any sort of standard set game plans. The only thing we might see is FuriousMagic go and do the escape sequence instead, because having not done the uncle checks, that's sort of an option there. saltyphry though showing us the back of escape here. Another, probably I kind of slipped my mind there. Probably the most major option. We do find our Moon Pearl there. Most major early game option, the glove opens up.
Yep, both of them are heading towards, well, making the move towards the back of the sewers, so both runners getting Moon Pearl, and as we see, Salty is going to go ahead and make the South Shore checks happen. But it was really unusual. He decided to skip out on the race, so I'm guessing he feels like there's nothing of value on Magic Bat.
Yeah, it is a risk to take. It's definitely, it's a long check, and it only unlocks one thing. It's a safety item. It can help you a little bit in later dungeons. You can get free fairies for free health refills. Hopefully, neither of these runners need to rely on that too much.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it is technically possible to get it slightly more conveniently later with
Magic
Dark World and Mirror, but
yeah.
that's very rare.
So I'm going to assume Salty is placing his money on finding the mirror before he gets his Dark World access at this point.
Yeah, either that or he's, just gonna hope that that we don't really need that powder for anything important.
Yeah.
Yeah, at this point in the race, it's a decent bet, but it's also pretty
risky,
pretty aggressive to skip something this early in the season.
Yeah.
Yeah, the other reason that he did that, I think, is because he did Kakariko south to north. So rather than walking through the whole thing, he just I think he decided to save and quit after Blind's Hut. So I don't think he's even seen that.
We do get flippers pointing the way even more to Zora Domain at this point. You might as well start doing those checks. Preferably after you do Ice Cave, though. I could be wrong and they could just go straight for it.
Yeah, looks like he's gonna go straight for it, skip Ice Rod Cave. Might swing up and check Hobo.
Yeah, that's what it looks like, yeah. You don't check, unless you're checking the island. Moving up further from up here is a Hobo check.
Yeah. And you know, makes perfect sense. If you're gonna pass up on Ice Rod Cave, you're not also gonna skip Hobo.
And as we see Furious following suit, going to check the island and see what's up there. And we'll proceed on to go into doing the Hobo as well. So yeah, both runners opting to do their water flipper checks for the light world, which is understandable.
Yeah, it is a little bit. They will both have to keep in mind. Okay, no, it looks like Fry's actually going to go to Ice Rod Cave here this way.
Okay.
So
yeah, I would.
You know, this one of those things. I haven't crunched the numbers on that overworld movement. I don't know if that's actually more efficient or not.
Yeah. I'd feel like doing Ice Cave first would have been beneficial because then you don't have to worry about it that much, but we'll worry about that later. As we come across the Ice Cave, we are going to get our check here. A lot of these runners tend to pass us up. It's a piece of art today. But that's a peace of mind to know that nothing serious was in Ice Cave to begin with. I've seen a lot of runners get burned on that lately.
Yeah, Ice Rod Cave is kind of one of those checks that it's one of those early game checks. It's available the whole game, but sometimes it's one of those ones. It takes a little bit longer to get to than a lot of the other ones, and so it's easy to pass up. But it's also pretty dangerous because it's hard to get back there. It's hard to justify the trip. So.
Yeah, the only time you'll justify it is
picking it up this time. So.
Yeah. Oh, we get our silvers and lantern in the waterfall ferry. So when they get encounter with the Ganon, this sea will be going by pretty quickly. Plus, that light source puts the Death Mountain into logic, so our runners can theoretically go up there now with legitimacy.
Yeah, that puts Old Man and the one item inside of Spectacle Rock Cave in logic. It doesn't give us access to anything else, unfortunately. So it's still a pretty hard call to decide to go up there. But that being said, I've seen it a million times where, you know, you do get that mountain access and you have to go up there for Hammer or Moon Pearl or Mirror or whatever is up there. So.
And unfortunately, we get scammed by the Zord. Well, not really scammed, I guess, but kinda, yeah, with the piece of heart. But them's the breaks.
Yeah, at this point, you're more interested. You're more just happy you can get this all sort of taken care of. Looks like Fry's probably gonna head up the mountain here. The other option I would think at this point would be checking Sahasrarla's hut and going to Eastern Palace.
Yeah, that's another thing to check into. Plus, neither of our runners had done escape, actually, the front part at least, which is Furious is working
Furious
towards.
Is going to do this. Yeah, and Furious also has the 2 checks by Uncle as well. So this makes a lot of sense from Furious's perspective here.
And I believe that's
even though it's technically a dungeon, it's generally classified the same as basically overworld checks.
Both runners getting a piece of heart from 2 different areas. One we already saw. But yeah, seems like so where do you think our next major progression is? You think it's in Escape, Eastern, or in the mountain with this last check?
I don't think it's the mountain. I think the mountain is a pretty hopeful play at this point. Because again, like I mentioned, you do get information about what's up on this ledge here, but you can't get it without the mirror. And the only other item we can get is this one, which takes a while to get to if we actually need it. And yeah, it's garbage. So Fry not getting rewarded for a couple minutes spent there checking those 2 checks.
And yeah, to answer chat, yes, 6 bombs is enough to do the escape. You need 2 for the blue guard, 2 for the green guard, and 2 more for the blue guard. Well, yeah. It's up to 2. And unfortunately, FuriousMagic is
Yeah, Furious has to make some tough decisions here. Screwed up the setup there with those first bombs. Gonna have to hope the guards are in the bomb drop pack. I don't know if we've confirmed if they are or not.
Not entirely. I don't think so. I would have thought they'll start using the pots to take out those guards, but it doesn't look like the case. They're gonna hope the stun prize will allow them to give them something, but I don't think there's gonna be anything worthwhile. And they pulling out
Yeah,
bombs.
this is a rough spot to be in. As soon as you run out of those, it's like you've already spent like a good like.
Oh, there we go. Ganon more.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
That you feel a lot better about that. It's still not great. Well, no, it's fantastic because now you can use the Cane of Samaria.
Yeah, you're bailed out. You got.
Yeah.
FuriousMagic got really fortunate to pull that out. So now they can finish the last part of the escape sequence, the first phase of it, and move on with their lives. Trying to make sure they don't pick up too many hearts because they can prepare a death warp if they feel like they need to get to the back part of the sewers, which they're going to go ahead and do so.
Yeah, unfortunately, the map is not what FuriousMagic wanted to see there. FuriousMagic wanted to see another item because the last check we haven't done is the back of Dark Cross.
Yeah.
And since we have seen the key in the back of Escape, we know that if that had been an item, we would know that the map would have to be this item. But given that it is still an item, FuriousMagic is going to have to go back and check it.
And Salty, unfortunately, doing a slight error in trying to get to that one chest. But, it's okay. It's just a hop, skip, and a jump to get back to there for the literacy book.
So, yeah, that book, I wonder if they decide to take that to Desert.
To be honest, if I was in their shoes, I would totally do so. I would totally do it. And Hammer was in Darkcross, so that's the access that we need to get into the Dark World here. Furious will be our first runner in this race to step into it.
Yeah, and Salty has a couple more checks here in Eastern. Oh, that's two out of 3 items there. So if the bow doesn't show up, then unfortunately it's going to be a double dip of Eastern, because that is the Light World dungeon we do have to complete as Furious heads into the Dark World, heading to Hype Cave.
Alright, let's see if Hype Cave live up to its name. But you do get a sword from there. Piece of heart.
I think that's enough, personally.
5 rupees. A bottle, and we get 300 more rupees. Hey, you know what? That's pretty fair. I rate that a
honestly,
7 out.
That is our one bottle that we get. Well,
Yeah.
Only one bottle in this item pool, so that's actually an important item because it allows us to check the item that's on Sick Kid. But the sword is fantastic. Notably, Fry does not have a sword yet.
Yeah, I rate that a 7 out of 10 due to the seed that we're in. This is a hard mode.
Yeah, so I think Furious is coming out on top here. Getting that, the decision to go sooner into the front of Escape is interesting. What is Fry doing here? What's the plan?
He's getting bombs to do the escape sequence. He needs more bombs, so this is a bomb extension play.
Oh, Fry has... Oh, I suppose, yeah. I guess it's quite a detour.
Given the circumstances, this is a weird detour, but it's a sound investment.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly helps out, and you are feeling it 20 minutes in and you don't have a sword yet. But as we know, Furious found the King of Samaria down there. You only really need a few bombs to make it that far, so...
So I stand corrected. He's going towards desert. I can't tell if I should be very, very afraid or...
I mean, okay, then it makes a little more sense that he's picking up those bombs, because he wants insurance in case he has to finish the dungeon. Because if he has to finish the dungeon, he doesn't want to not be able to. If he's got one of his items there, he doesn't want to have to invest all this time going around here and then have to leave.
But yeah, with the ability to go into the Dark World now, FuriousMagic is going to take the time to do it through Kakariko Village after checking out the south part of the Dark World. So they're going to do magic bad thanks to the fact that they got... Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, Fry is going to be losing a bunch of time here unless this becomes a hunt. And FuriousMagic has to end up doing all of these checks as cleanup later on. Because right now, FM's just getting ahead here. Just making progress. But that book ended up being quite deceptive.
And then a piece of her from the sick kid, so yeah. This is a weird bit of circumstances for Salty for sure.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen somebody get a bomb or arrow extension in a race.
EP was in logic due to Waterfall Fairy having the lantern.
Yeah, we are fully in logic. The only things that we could have ended up skipping would have been the flippers or the lamp that open areas, but both of those were obtained fully within logic.
And in the most convenient places too, no less. So they kind of led into each other. Well, the flippers led into the lantern a lot more, especially with the money they was getting from Kakariko Village. You had to be extremely crazy to do a wild play.
Yeah, Fry is really paying the price here for that late sword. Just not super keen on this swordless escape. And you know, it does make sense, right? You know, those boots showing up there in the treasure game. That's one of those items that you sort of keep putting escape off in hopes that you find, right? You'd like to get a sword or the boots just to make it a little faster, because if you don't have any of that stuff, it's pretty slow. And I think Fry put it off just a little bit too long. You know, I know nobody likes bomb escape, but
I'll do bomb escape. Then again, I'm pretty nuts in doing the opening routes sometimes.
Yeah, and as you see there, Fry just nailed that bomb thing that FuriousMagic screwed up earlier. So, you know, probably could have made this play quite a bit sooner without really any penalty.
We do get a few checks from Thieves Town dungeon. It is a crystal. Just now realized it. So yeah, they're going to be clearing this up. You don't really need any more stuff to clear Thieves Town, so might as well get it out the way.
Yeah, and getting those boots before you head in too is really nice, because this is a dungeon with a lot of nice straightaways that you can really make those boots work for you.
Yep. And Salty doing the Death Warp, most likely going to check the back part of Escape, which is the Dark Cross, and he will be getting his hammer and their access to Dark World.
And it's looking like FuriousMagic, unless we have an insane bow hunt, is going to probably be able to do Eastern Palace in one go, which is definitely a boon. It is early days yet in the seed, but definitely, unless something turns up later that we need to get that book early for some reason, because it's about the only thing that Fry has right now over over Furious.
Yeah, we haven't had a check yet, we don't have access yet to any of the tablets so far. I mean, we could theoretically check Pedestal, but that's not on the menu right now to check, just to see if we can get a bow there. But as far as a pendant layout goes, I want to say it is possible for bow to be bow locked. I mean, bow can be locked on Pedestal itself, especially since it's not a progressive bow.
Yeah. Right now, before we can get the item on the pedestal, minimum we would need to see a flute and our mitts. Yep. And by the time we get those two items, there's so much more of the map open that you're not considering it too hard just yet.
Yeah, I didn't really see much here so far in Thieves Town dungeon, so just one more check to go through to get that out the way in the crystal, and Furious will be leading this race up by 1.
Yeah, it is one of our 5-6 crystals, but we won't be able to get the other one in Skull Woods until we see the Fire Rod.
If this seed is really generous, it'll place it right in Skull Woods itself. But then again, that'll be really rude too if our runners decide not to do it.
Yeah, I anticipate that we see FuriousMagic check it out here, because it's generally something that runners like to check earlier on in Dark World, just because it's a fairly good access point.
They're gonna check the rest of the Village of Outcasts first before they make their decision on where they're gonna go next. Meanwhile, Salty is taking a jaunt on over to Catfish from the looks of it, which is
yeah, and it's another kind of weird long shot play here from Fry. Not something that I'd expect him to do after I think that was an actual last location on that hammer.
Yeah, it's the last location on that hammer. He feels behind, so that's the reason why he's playing out this while doing this shot in the dark, so to say.
Yeah, I mean the drawback is this is check that if you're feeling good about the seed, you usually feel all right skipping this, but maybe it's what we need. If it's hookshot or something, that could be a big boon here.
Nope, just 20 rupees. That is really disappointing. That's the last thing you want to see, trying to make up for lost ground that you already did so far.
And the other thing too is I don't think any of the plays that Fry has made have felt super. He can't be too sure that anything is sort of unique. Well, my opponent could have done all of the same things, so you're not even counting. I was like, oh, I could follow the book, because there's really no guarantee that you're the only one with the book.
Right.
There's not a lot you can act on.
So item number 1 in Skull Woods is a piece of heart. We may
You see that big key showing up.
Yeah, we may see the last item be in the back part. Yep. Well, it could theoretically be on in the big chest, but
Yeah.
Furious
Not gonna
decides to opt
explore
out
that
of
right now.
Yeah. No point in doing that, especially after you killed the Master Hand right after that.
Yeah, and you know, we also have these boots checks to get done here as well. So without the mirror, there's no real reason to not save and quit here. Honestly,
Yeah.
you know, you are leaving one thing in Skull Woods, but
Gets paid for it with the hookshot. Which prompting him to go straight to Mountain now. Yeah, this is one of those items that you
yeah, with
definitely
that hookshot,
want.
yeah, that hookshot opens up a whole lot on the mountain.
That's east side, and if you want to, you can dip into Tower of Hera if you feel so inclined.
Yeah, I expect we'll see that. You know, you at least check the chest in that first basement and the chest on the ground floor. If you're lucky, you get both of the items. Actually, I don't think it's possible for you to get
No, it's
both
not
of the
possible.
items,
Yeah.
but, you can get one item. And hey, if you're lucky, maybe you get the big key and can do a quick Harapot and check the other 2 chests upstairs.
Yeah.
That wouldn't take too terribly long. With the hookshot, that's a possibility.
Meanwhile, Salty is making his way through Thieves Town, and this is gonna be a pretty clean and simple Thieves Town here. We didn't see anything much from here, so he's just gonna enjoy the ride, see if he can make up some time for it, and get his first crystal for the seed.
Yeah, with that hookshot showing up behind those boots, though, that's definitely one big olive branch that's off the table for Fry. Nothing so far on the mountain. We do have the big money room here.
All right, we got 5 chests to take a look at. Well, what do they have for us today? Well, I feel like Hype Cave and Paradox Cave swap places today.
I mean, I don't know. They both had. Hype Cave had the sword. Yeah, you can't discount that.
Okay,
FuriousMagic does mess up that bomb jump, but yeah, that's pretty solid. The flute doesn't actually open up too much in logically right now.
The mirror, though.
At least not until we have the mitts, but it's very nice to have.
That mirror, though.
Yeah, the mirror is much more impactful. Because that's a lot of overworld checks to that can be nicely packaged together with some other stuff now.
And I like this play here. Furious going through Spiral Cave, making sure no stone is unturned. And that will be their finishing dive into the Death Mountain. Not even going to check the later part of it because there's no point. You're going to free the bird first.
Yeah, and I expect we probably see Swamp Palace. So it's a fat 6 checks. It's a crystal dungeon. We now have all of the items we need to actually finish it. So, you know, FuriousMagic could tool around doing some of those overworld mirror checks or what have you, but I think the play here is to go straight into Swamp, which, on the flip side, could come into play if there's something really important on Bombo's tablet.
I feel like there's something important in Swamp House to begin with. Or at least in my opinion.
Yeah, if there's something like mitts on Bombo's tablet, that would be spicy. I'm not holding my breath for it, but that would be pretty. That would be interesting.
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, saltyphry cleaning up their Thief Sound dungeon in spectacular fashion, following the script to the T to get their first crystal of their race.
Yeah, Fry could make up a little bit of time here by skipping out on Skull Woods. So we'll see if that's the option taken here, but I'm not sure if it's a good idea or not. It would definitely play out sort of okay. It doesn't look like it. We're seeing south here because Fry did not go this way earlier upon entry to Dark World.
So most likely, I'm going to assume that Digging Game and Stumpy save and quit, and then go do the Bonk Rocks, because you still haven't done that yet, and that will lead them back into the mountain. We do get a Master Sword in our Compass chest for Swamp Palace, which is actually very, very convenient, because now that fight with Argus isn't a pain to deal with. Here's hoping another sword is in there.
Yeah, I'm not holding my breath on that one, but Master Sword is serviceable for the majority of the seed. Certainly happy to see that. Yeah, Fry going to village this way.
You're gonna check
which
out
makes sense. Hasn't actually checked this yet.
Yeah. Don't think they checked Sick Kid either, so that's the reason why they're here as well.
Yeah, the bottle was in Hype Cave. I don't recall what we saw in the library. Gonna guess it wasn't
nothing important. Yeah.
Do you see Diver down from FuriousMagic over there? Saving a little bit of time on these left side swamp checks.
So yeah, a little bit more overworld checks, but here's hoping that Salty does not go in the Dark World just yet and check out Bonk Rocks once he's finished with this.
Yeah, it's a little bit dangerous going here because it's as far as what we know about the seed. There's Mitts left side swamp.
Mama, that's spicy.
Yeah, I mean that's another olive branch that Fry can no longer be offered here by the seed.
Oh no!
I was really hoping for Mitts on Bombos. That would have been so cool. But
I'm so sorry for calling that now.
I mean, it's a relatively safe call, all things considered.
That's true.
Because again, there are 6 checks down here in Swamp Palace. Not a whole lot else that's in logic. I suppose we do have the pod dip, but without a bow, there's actually a lot less that's in logic over there.
Be really messed up if we found more progression here.
Okay, so Fry does not take this second opportunity to check out Skull Woods. Decides, it's time to go back up the mountain. Well, no, not necessarily. It's time to check this. Now he's going to decide it's time to go up the mountain.
Yeah, with this, he's going to go back up the mountain for sure. Though he could save and quit. He did turn into the old man. There we go.
Yeah, so that's a little bit of time save there. Getting a little bit of the time back from having to go up the mountain twice. Yeah, we are gonna get to see Ether Tablet here, which it could be interesting. Ice Rod on Ether Tablet wouldn't be the worst thing for Fry to find here.
Yeah. Or Bow.
Yeah, Bow would be pretty. I think Bow would probably be better.
Yes. But yeah, if this seed continues to just lay out the items in favor of Furious, this is going to be Furious' run to lose at this point.
Yeah, and I mean, it really all just came down to not getting a sword for a while, and Fry decided to put off that castle play. And that's really all it's most of what it's come down to so far.
And to be honest, it's like really hard to try to justify going back into the castle after you did Uncle Check.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and you don't do it right away in a seed like this, not unless you get something really good in those first couple checks.
Alright, well, Ether Medallion Tablet does not have anything useful for our runners. And saltyphry is going into Tower of Hera just to peep into it, hopefully. See what he can come across. Do get the big key though, so there can be some shenanigans done here.
Yeah, not much in Meyer Shed.
And,
Though, interesting, important to note that FuriousMagic is going to be able to do the desert checks in Agina on this same trip. So it's, again, pretty convenient here.
Yeah, it's going to be clean. This is some great form of clean routing, so to say.
Yeah, and it's been really fortuitous, really, because it was kind of a mystery until, I mean, even to us watching, until we saw that hammer show up in Dark Cross. But since that hammer showed up, everything has been pretty smooth, pretty easy to read, pretty self-evident where you really should be going next. And you go there and boom, you're rewarded with the next thing that's okay, now go here. Not all seeds are like that, but this one so far has been, and FuriousMagic has just kind of been reaping the rewards for it.
Yeah, the only way this can go wrong is doing the Ice Rod Hunt at this point.
Yeah, Ice Rod Hunt or Medallion Hunt. But
That's
yeah,
right.
it's it would really take one of those items to be in a pretty rough spot to equalize this too much more. Bow, I think, is probably the last really impactful item that we see, but I don't know how much advantage Fry would be able to get from that, seeing as... I mean, if it was hidden a lot, if it was pretty hidden, then FuriousMagic might make the Eastern dip. So if it's not like in pod or something, then Furious might decide to go over there soonish.
Mm-hmm. Salty taking care of Mort with the hammer and gets 10 arrows for his efforts, but he does get the green pendant. So here's hoping that green pendant will lead him to one of the major items here that'll allow him to open up the world.
If he decides
more.
to big brain Bow on Sahasrara, hats off.
Right.
I mean, I hope he goes to Swamp here after he finishes up on the mountain, but because if you don't go to Swamp after finding the mirror and the flute here, you sort of have to question your decision.
Yeah, a bit foolhardy, as some would say.
Yeah, and here we see FuriousMagic full clearing desert. Despite it being a pendant, I think the idea here is, you know, it's...
It was along the way.
I wonder if we see him do Meyer as well. Meyer's not Ether, is it? No, I think it's
Nope.
Bombos.
Yeah, it's Bombos.
Yeah, but you know, it would be. We do have all of the ingredients for the pedestal at this point, so we could have a required medallion on the pedestal, or ice rod, or even fire rod.
Or the pendant dungeons have all 3 of our major progression items needed to finish a C.
Yeah,
That'd be
and
weird.
I think the idea here is, I bet if FuriousMagic had the, well, I don't want to put you know, decisions in their brain, but
right.
it would be a defensible play to, you know, let's just clear everything here so you never have to come back.
That's what I was thinking. You're already here. You took care of the Misery Mire Shed and Checkerboard Cave. You might as well do the last finishing touches and be done with this area. With the only area being left out is Bombos.
Yeah, and given that we're at a point in the seed where, from FuriousMagic's stance here, there's no obvious next crystal dungeon that we can clear, or even really dip into. I guess the next choice here being going up the mountain here and checking Dark Death Mountain.
Okay, yeah, dead pet. Pet is dead.
But yeah, all of a sudden, with the items, you know, if you have Bombos there to open up Mire, then it's not the worst play to just clear out both of those dungeons. But since Pet is dead, it's not going to help FuriousMagic out too much to have gotten that pendant from Desert.
They are going to check Hookshot Cave as well as Turtle Rock's entry from this point.
Yeah, we see Fry being a little more thorough here, having gotten burned earlier, as FuriousMagic pulls the Tempered Sword out of Super Bunny Cave.
All right, let's go then. But yeah, that is pretty huge.
Yeah, so I imagine Fry is probably going to check Bombos after Swamp Palace here, but not before. Wants to get in there.
And Quake is on Turtle Rock. So yeah, we will need Quake, which can be locked behind any of the pendant dungeons or pedestal. Well, no, not pedestal because Pet is dead, but like still. Good grief.
Yeah, we're gonna need to see it.
We're going to need to.
And I think the main reason Fry didn't check Bombo's tablet beforehand is, you know, in the 6 checks, if you get another sword, you can just get the item rather than just getting information and potentially.
And there he
back
is.
Now he gets the sword.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think he was like thinking to get the sword because he didn't know it was there. But
yeah,
it's
the
a rough decision to decide to check Bombos just for information before going into Swamp Palace. Yeah, I think FuriousMagic here is deciding on this trip up the mountain. He's gonna just clear it out. I wouldn't be surprised. Well, we'll see if he decides to go for Spike Cave. We don't have an invulnerability item, but it would be nice to not have to think about coming back here at all again. Tablet notwithstanding.
And 2 spins take care of Morty for FuriousMagic.
Yeah, so we'll see what FuriousMagic decides to do here.
Looks like he's going for it. So yeah, with this amount of hearts, he still have a red pot. So this is an understandable play. You could take the pain. You got the hook shot too to make it a little bit easier to do. Oh!
And it's Ice Rod.
Mark a critical item.
This is
off the
everything's
list.
coming up FuriousMagic here.
Oh no! This is the lead is increasing ever so much with every critical item being pulled here. All we need now is Quake, Fire Rod, and Bow, and then we can just go.
Yeah, I mean, how much of this do you think is due to the fact that FuriousMagic's sprite is a little easier on the eyes? I feel like that might play a huge role here. No diss on Invisible Link, but I mean, that Lapras sprite is fire.
So yeah, this is this intention of going into Palace of Darkness now. They're gonna do all these checks here, and it's gonna be really clean too. Like really clean. You can do Desert, Eastern, and Saha's prize is only 5 rupees. So yeah, we're not getting anything huge here. Palace of Darkness may have something, but I could be completely wrong in that regard. But with the way how this seed is dictating and rewarding me as I go and clear some of these dungeons with the routing I do, I would go ahead and just start going for it.
Yeah, at this point, I would put my money on there being a small key in the first chest here. If there's something else in that first chest, then that would surprise me. Because I would just bet that we'd end up with a key layout where only those 2 right side bow locked checks are actually locked by bow. Because if we don't find a key here, then you have to break logic to get further in the dungeon. But I'm gonna guess we're gonna see a key here, and then we're gonna continue on and get you can get all the way to the back with from this. So
yeah, the suspicion of bow being near around pod is getting ever more apparent now.
Yeah, I suppose it's technically possible that both this chest and the chest available downstairs could be non-small key items, in which case we actually can't get to the back here, and there's 1 out of 2.
And the other one is a key, so we can go to the back part at the very least.
And that'll be some more checks. Bow skipping shenanigans here.
Oh, looks like we are.
Yeah, gonna have to do the mimic clip, I think, because we don't have the potion for the potion clip.
No, he bought a potion. He totally.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Yep, there it is.
Well, okay, yeah, he did. Okay. Yeah, I must have missed that because I did remember he used it in his only bottle for Spike Cave just a moment ago. But yeah, with the flute, you can pick up another potion in the blink of an eye. Fry, on the other hand, here is going to give us a look at Bomba's tablet, which is going to take FuriousMagic quite a while to get to if it's important. So just hoping for Bo here for Fry's.
Is book going to be a key essential item? There's Quake.
Hey.
Alrighty.
That could be important, actually. We could end up
important.
With Bo
that's Tudorok entry.
If Fire Rod shows up, if Fire Rod just shows up somewhere, We could see Bo in TR.
That is huge.
Unfortunately, I think the most likely place for Fire Rod to be is here in the back of Palace of Darkness, but
Yeah.
that's definitely good news for Fry, because that's going to be... It's going to be a while before FuriousMagic decides to go... Well, maybe not. You
Buck
can
was in
conceivably
Eastern,
route that in
so-
with... we do have Flute, Mirror, Boots, all of the stuff to make a really quick full Smith chain into Bombos,
Yeah.
conceivably.
Man, I would like to think that Furious will be doing Eastern after this. So even if they
Yeah, I
do
mean-
come up dry, they will come across the book and then we'll do those checks. But even then,
Yeah, I mean, the
that
book
would-
isn't going to lead directly to Bombo's tablet.
right.
But the thing to keep in mind is that FuriousMagic really doesn't have a whole lot that's just on the table.
Smith chain.
Graveyard led FuriousMagic hasn't done. Catfish.
Then you got Smith chain.
But yeah, Smith chain is the obvious first choice, and with the book you route that in with Bombos. So
Yeah.
it may not be too long before FuriousMagic picks that up. Fry making the play to go straight to Dark Death Mountain here and get the get all that good stuff up here.
He's gonna find out that the Quake Medallion is required for Turtle Rock, and he's gonna... I wonder if he's gonna make the dive into it.
Okay, remember when I was hoping for like mitts on Bombos?
Mhm.
I think the new spiciest item location would be Fire Rod and first chest of Turtle Rock. I've seen it. I've seen it there. It can be there. It's allowed.
Okay. I will take that one for sure. Because last time,
I mean,
seed I commentated on, it had hookshot in Hookshot Cave of all places.
I mean, honestly, I think it's the correct play to get that check. Honestly, you go into Turtle Rock to check that first chest just in case.
Yep.
There's really no. I mean, it would kind of suck if it is there, because then you have to decide whether or not to keep going in Turtle Rock and hope that, hey, maybe Ice Rod's in here too, which we know it isn't. But
And FuriousMagic leaving out, getting all the needed items in Eastern. Did not find the bow from what he was hoping for, so they're gonna start doing some overall checks, starting in Kakariko Village. From the looks of it,
yeah, I think going to go for
Blacksmith.
probably either Blacksmith Chain, or might decide to like, okay, well, let's screw Catfish. Maybe you go up into Graveyard Ledge first, but I kind of think this is just straight to Smith Chain.
yeah, this is straight to Smith, but more density this way.
Yeah, and it's especially lucrative because I don't think FuriousMagic did K45 either.
Nope. Alright, so Salty is taking a dive into Turtle Rock. Is Fire Rods our first item in here?
Bow would be pretty spicy here too. It's not. Okay, well, whatever.
We go deeper. That's
Fry,
that's
what are you doing? You can't go anywhere else in here.
the key.
Well, no,
can
you
go
can. You
deeper.
can just keep going because he got
Yeah.
the small key. Okay.
Yeah,
I
you can
respect
go
it. I
deeper in
respect
here.
This is the kind of plays like part of you hates to see it and part of you loves to see it. A large part of me loves to see this stuff where you just lay it all out on the table. You know, you can play
that's-
safe all you want. It wins you races, it wins you championships, but this is where the adrenaline really is.
But yeah, that was a rather impressive chain chop room, by the way.
Yeah, there are actually some quite a few pretty reliable setups for that room. Nothing's 100% because of the chomp RNG, but that's one of the safer ways to do it. It minimizes the amount of movement you're doing. So you just remotely activate it. Use the iframes from the pegs to make your way make your way through to the chest and out the door.
Saltyphry getting a fairy for safekeeping. They are going to go into this lava room.
As you do when you're going through TR not in go mode.
There's their big key. That means they get to go even deeper into this dungeon. But yeah, this is not looking good.
If Fire Rod's here, and it may well be because we didn't see it show up in pod.
Yeah, it did not show up in pod, and we know it's not in
that's
the
probably
combo.
where FuriousMagic is going to be going next. Honestly, might decide to clean up Catfish Pyramid, Graveyard Ledge, King's Tomb. That's also we haven't seen that one. Haven't been back there since we got mids. But yeah, I think the TR play is actually, the problem is, right? Even if Fire Rod's in here, you gotta go out for the Ice Rod because it's not in here too.
That's
right.
I
might be able to save
Ice Rod is in Ice Rod is in next door in the Spike Cave,
which is it's kind of the worst spot because like that's like the one spot on the mountain you're not gonna check before you dip TR, just because it's so obnoxious to get back out again and go anywhere afterwards. It's usually the last location you want to do on the mountain, so you can just save and quit.
But yeah, if Salty does not get a key here, he's locked out. Okay, he does. No, wait, no, that was logic. That was whatchamacallit. You have to have a key in there because of how.
I mean, not necessarily, because if the Fire Rod is somewhere else, it could be in those two Fire Rod lock chests.
Right.
I think the fact that we're still going is really good.
Really good on
that we're probably going to see Fire Rod in here.
Meanwhile, FuriousMagic checking out the overall checks that we have yet to see here. In King's Tomb, we get ourselves a piece of heart.
Okay. I mean, that's continued good news for Fry here. Not the Fire Rod not showing up on that left-hand side of the screen there is good news for Fry fans. Gonna see how good his laser skips are. You gotta go. You gotta take that.
He has a fairy, so he should be good.
Oh, that's right. Okay, wow. I was like, man, that's really bold.
Fire Rod in Graveyard Ledge.
Ooh, it's not ideal. I would say that's not ideal for Fry here.
So not only Turtle Rock not giving us a very, very needed progression item here, but just
bow and dig spot.
Bow and dig spot. It has to be bow and dig spot. It has to be bow and dig spot.
Like bow and dig spot, or bow could also be on moth.
But yeah, that Fire Rod.
This is probably gonna be Fry. No, he's not doing Skullwoods just yet. He really wants to get that Fire Rod first. He's gonna be doing Smith Chain now, though. Which makes perfect sense because he now has that shovel. And so now he can pack that into there as well.
Meanwhile, FuriousMagic is tracing the steps that saltyphry has done so far.
Interesting death warp strategy there. That's not something that you usually see with the Smith chain. But given he's probably doesn't fancy, he's doing this. Okay, so here's why he's doing this. I thought why he was doing this. I thought he was gonna go check dig spot on the way back up, and then mirror and fly the purple chest out. Unfortunately, he's kind of orphaning Graveyard Ledge with this routing here.
And that's going to... Yeah, that's going to be That's really unfortunate.
Graveyard Ledge isn't the hardest orphaned check to pick up, but
in this situation, in this race style, you hate to see it happen.
Yeah, I mean it's just at this point it's just rough for it to just be the last one that you're committing to doing. It's not the worst routing decision to do it last, but it is a little unfortunate given what we know. The FuriousMagic is gonna have to be careful here. He missed that first torch there, unfortunately. Almost ran out of magic.
Yeah, the Seath is being a little bit rude. Well, not the Seath, but the enemy placement is being a little bit rude today. But
and,
that's
notable. Like these runners are not going to be getting any mail upgrades. So
gotta be careful here.
Yeah. Both these runners we see. Interesting. Fry picking up just a green potion. I'm not sure why you don't go for the blue there. You know, just for good measure. You certainly aren't hurting for cash. Yeah, I think that dig spot coming up empty is probably the nail in the coffin for Fry's race here. Just about.
Yeah, it's only a matter of time before Furious gets to the bow, which is going to. I feel the only place we have yet to look in at all is in Ice Palace. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it has to be in there, and that will be the.
It's either in Ice Palace or on Trinex, but neither of those locations are really worse for Furious than for Fry.
Right. And you can just finish Ice Palace up with no issue. So. Especially with the loadouts you got right now, like Fire Rod, Kana Samora. You even have like a bottle, so you can just refill magic, which I think. Oh wait, this may be going into.
We're going up to TR.
Wow. TR before Ice Palace? Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine you do Pyramid Fairy first before coming up here.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too, actually. TR is worse to go mode. Okay. Okay, yeah. The item check for go moding makes sense now. Plus, they did not check Ether Medallion, so they're gonna do that.
So, it's a little bit unfortunate to see Fry not getting that fire out on Graveyard Ledge, but it also doesn't make a lot of sense to go and do that before you dip pod here, because at this point, you know, you're kind of thinking, well, I don't want to go and clear all of the overworld just to find the bow or something in pod.
So you hope it's for Fire Rod to be in here at least.
Yeah, or bow, you know. Because, again, Fry is bow and fire rod from go mode right now. Well, ice rod didn't actually. I'm just now noticing he didn't go to Spike Cave.
Yeah.
He was up on the mountain. But chances are probably pretty good that he would end up He's definitely not going into Turtle Rock before he goes into Spike Cave.
Yeah.
But at this point, it's when that actually is kind of the question here. Like, FuriousMagic might even be, finishing up the seed by the time he gets back up there.
And we get nothing in the Fire Rod lock area for Turtle Rock, so if you was holding your breath, hoping Bo was not there, you can breathe out a sigh of relief there. But that still doesn't change the very dire situation that Fry is in. Just like Chet just said, like every decision Fry had made to try to see if he can get something going, all have come up flat in this run throughout. And I feel like orphaning Graveyard Ledge was is going to be like how it all ends on this point. Even if just like you said, like by the time they'll find Ice Rod at that point, their FuriousMagic is probably gonna be in GT.
Yeah, and to sort of put the whole thing sort of into perspective, FuriousMagic, I would probably say has probably played the superior race. It's obviously they have the lead right now, but I think it's really been sort of heads up, smart routing, playing conservative in the right spots, and it's kind of paying off. Not too many risks, and I wouldn't even say that FuriousMagic got particularly lucky with any of the items. It's just all sort of come together, and part of that is really due to the way that they decided to route the seed in the first place.
Right.
Yeah, so Fry, understandably, is going to be checking into the front of Skull Woods before checking Graveyard Ledge. It wouldn't make sense to do it the other way around, unless this was a spoiler open, which it's not.
I think our runners will be finished if it was a spoiler seed.
Right. Yeah. But I mean, the only way you go to Graveyard Ledge first and then dip into Skull Woods is if you know there's an advantage to doing so. If you don't, there's really no reason to ever do that. So at least Fry is probably going to be getting Fire Rod at this point, because the front of Skull Woods completely empty. Unfortunately, he's not up on his Skull Woods key logic, which I'll freely admit that I'm not either, so I wouldn't have known that. But as has been mentioned several times in chat, since the boss cannot have a small key, well, I suppose with the Fire Rod having shown no, because Fry hasn't found the Fire Rod yet. But,
Yeah.
Oh, and also Fry hadn't checked this, so. And this was probably the map or the compass? Or is this
Yes, map. Yes, map.
Yeah, so okay, so yeah. So Fry hadn't seen both the map and the compass, so never mind. Fry is exonerated of all charges.
I don't think either of our runners checked Bumper Ledge, but then again, Cape has not shown itself yet. And Salty Fry, thankfully
I'm just waiting for beatable logic seeds to work their way into tournament settings. Then you could see things like Cape on Bumper Cave Ledge, seeds where you just never find Swamp Small. I have a soft spot for beatable logic.
Yeah, there's the Fire Rod. I'm gonna go march right back into the Woods to get that out the way.
Yeah, I imagine we see Skull Woods and then probably Ice Palace first from Fry here. The Fry is definitely not going back up the mountain until Go mode is hit. Unfortunately, that means Fry might decide to dip Misery Mire.
Misery Mire was
'Cause,
Bombos. Yeah.
yeah, but if we find
Misery-
Bombus in Ice Palace.
Oh.
Because, I mean, unless Bombus is in GT, which is... Honestly, it's pretty... If Bombus does show up, I would imagine Fry checks it before going back up the mountain, because
Yeah.
usually the decision to go up the mountain before full clearing everything else is, you know, dependent on the fact that you haven't actually already cleared Turtle Rock out.
Yeah, FuriousMagic is now at Trinex, thanks to...
Bo? Pause champ?
Uh-oh.
Bo on Trinex?
Don't say that. Uh-oh.
Yeah, for the sake of the race, I would prefer to see Bo in Ice Palace.
Yeah. I feel like Bo has to be there. But, let's see if I'm absolutely wrong in every regard today. Oh, nope. It has to be an Ice Palace.
Looks like two people weren't paying attention to the item checks here.
Yeah.
And their names are Esper and Esmar.
It must be some other Esper then, huh? All jokes aside, though, yeah. As Chap pointed out, Pyramid Fairy could have the bow.
Yeah, I imagine Fry goes Pyramid Fairy into Ice Palace here, and FuriousMagic is probably going to be doing the exact same thing. I'm going to follow that shovel first, so they might actually be synced up, which might give a good indication of what kind of lead FuriousMagic has, because has basically the TR clear. Not going to do Pyramid Fairy first. Okay, I mean that's perfectly acceptable order to do these two things in. Actually, I think that makes sense given that you last location hammer early on in the seed. You know, you don't want to spend time tootling around before you dive into Ice Palace for an item that might just be in there. So
yeah. But yeah, if saltyphry pulls out the bow in Ice Palace, that means he's at the very least one crystal clear behind FuriousMagic so far. But that all depends on if you know, saltyphry goes back up to Death Mountain to get his whatchamacallit, his ice rod.
yeah, so the other sort of flip side, FuriousMagic has had a pretty comfortable race, so it makes a little bit more sense to check Pyramid Fairy first.
Yeah.
So you don't feel like you have to absolutely laser the dungeon, so you'd rather sort of get these checks, keep them efficient. I think it's not really going to make much difference here, because Fry is still going to need the ice rod before going back up the mountain, so is probably going to check Pyramid Fairy anyway. Even if the bow is in Ice Palace and not in Pyramid Fairy, but we'll find out in just a second here if it's in there.
Yep. Pyramid Fairy is coming up empty, but did give us a fairy in a bottle for opening that up. Meanwhile, saltyphry in Ice Palace, so this is definitely going to be... He's going to be unearthing our bow soon enough.
Something. Could be the bow, could be Bombos, could be Mushroom, but something is going to come out of this Ice Palace play.
Right. Or, you know, it could be, yeah, like you said, Bombos. So I was going to say, yeah, it could just be in Misery Mire of all places. Which could be the case here, because I did not make sure. I forgot my item count again. Oh my god, mushroom is...
Mushroom hard required.
Oh my goodness.
It might not be. I haven't completely been checking items. The mushroom could potentially be nothing, but at this point, you know, from what we know, it's pretty unlikely. Pretty unlikely that we don't need to turn that mushroom into the witch.
I bet you that's the first thing saltyphry is gonna do the moment he gets out of Ice Palace.
Oh yeah, no doubt, no doubt. You could make the case that it would make more sense to do Pyramid Fairy and walk up there, because really it doesn't matter. Well, you not walk up there, obviously. You definitely take the flute, but given that we have the flute, it's you kind of can just do that whenever. So.
Mushroom into Bombos into Bow. Hot cutscene. This chat is rude today.
I mean, if we hadn't actually checked Ped, you know they'd be rooting for Ped seed at this point.
I know, right?
Like if we didn't already know what was on Ped could very well be the Bow at this point.
I think our runners all went into each pendant dungeon, though. No doubt about it. So you might as well call this a pseudo all dungeon seed at this point. All dungeon hard mode.
Yeah, I mean, we're still waiting for Bombos. We haven't technically set foot into Misery Mire yet.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Coldster getting away from Fry a little bit. Those clean it up.
5 rupees. Huh. And Trinix didn't have Bombos. So... Oh yeah, right. Mushroom check. Last locationing Debo here. What fun. Saltyphry?
Really
Okay, yeah, I guess. I guess fairy, that's fair.
Yeah, you know, do you just follow the mushroom? You're still 2 items from go, so
yeah.
You definitely want to check the 2 items before you just like put it all in on the mushroom, when you can really just turn that in at any time if it becomes your last location. Yeah, at this moment in time, FuriousMagic has an indisputable lead, I would say, given that Fry is probably going to find the bow first. As long as it doesn't take too long to turn in this. Well, maybe not. If FuriousMagic has a really good Ice Palace boss here, might end up flying over there maybe a little bit before. But yeah, Fry has to do all of TR again, so.
Do be careful, Cold Stare hurts a lot on touch.
As you can see there, that's 4 hearts. Just out of the question. One more hit and you're out of there, FuriousMagic.
I think they got a fairy too, so they're insured at the very least.
Yeah. Okay, so I still think FuriousMagic could have maybe gotten to the mushroom check first with a perfect boss fight, but Fry gonna give us our glimpse at Bombos.
There's the bow.
It's the bow.
Well, we're in no mode now.
You gotta take the shot sometimes. You just gotta take it.
And yep, there it is. And in 1 hour, 23 minutes, and
about 7 seconds.
I want to say 9. Oh well, 7 seconds. FuriousMagic is now in go mode. Gonna drop the fairy off, and they're gonna finish up the Eastern and Palace of Darkness fights, and then start marching towards to the end of Ganon's Tower.
Yeah, so I mean, it's gonna end up being like a little bit closer than it kind of felt like, at least to me.
It is a little bit closer.
Yeah, the big difference, Fry's going to be back up the mountain first, most likely. And FuriousMagic is going to be a little bit behind. But the main difference is Fry's going to have to go and do all of TR again, which is not an enviable position.
Yeah. That dive to... Well, no, they... See, Fry does not have Ice Rod yet still. So that's going to take even longer.
But...
So it's going to take a bit much longer. So by the time Fry get back to Turtle Rock, FuriousMagic is going to be in Ganon's tower at this point. After
part
they
of me
finish
wants to see, like... tile room big key just to see how high our collection rate is at the end, because like a quick GT basement like that can really throw off like the appearance of just like how high the item check rate is, because I feel like Salty's check everything. There's like the locations in Mire that we haven't looked at, and that's about it. Locations in Mire and Bumper Cave and Ped.
But yeah, he doesn't need to do anything in Turtle Rock. Fry doesn't need to do anything in Turtle Rock because he already checked everything there. So it's just a matter of when the Salty Fry goes to the big cave. But we could get Bombos here, and that will throw... Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, FuriousMagic has even less to do in Turtle Rock, which is sort of the unfortunate thing. It doesn't save that much time to just go mode an already cleared Turtle Rock, because it's mostly a lot of walking.
Do get
it's
him out.
Interesting to see if Fry decides to take one more gamble, and hope that Ice Rod is in the front of TR.
If they do that, I'll be a little bit upset. But yeah,
I mean, I wouldn't blame him. At this point, you know, it's like, let's just go all. I mean, you know, I really want to see him just laser tile room big key and just find it there. Third check. I always love to see that, but you're almost never in a situation where you feel that there's a reason to do that.
But yeah, both runners are clearing Eastern Palace and Pod at this point. And by the time Salty Fry goes back up the mountain to get his Ice Rod to finish the last part of Turtle Rock, FuriousMagic will already be at the front door to Ganon's tower, and we will start looking for the key from there.
Yeah, additionally, it also looks like FuriousMagic is making up a little bit of time. I haven't been comparing these super closely, but it seems like the gap has diminished a little bit in terms of progress through these last couple dungeons. FuriousMagic is checking this the back here because the big key's back here. FuriousMagic didn't do a full dip of Eastern. I kind of thought that they had done that, given that they had the book, but I suppose not.
And thanks to the fact that they got silvers very early, the almost rave party just got lit up. Get it? Rave party, lit up, white arrow, arrows of flight. Wink, wink.
Silver in this game, Pub.
Oh, right, silvers.
Silver. I appreciated it though.
I mean, they're still light. They shine, right? Silver can shine.
It's true. They are relatively shiny. Got that Quicksilver.
Quicksilver. Alright, I'm gonna stop.
Alright, but yeah, I imagine we're gonna be seeing... I mean... Yeah, Fry's gonna definitely make a valiant effort. He's the first up the mountains, got one dungeon left to do. Unfortunately, FuriousMagic here. Final boss right here. Final boss before Ganon's Tower. So he's just gonna have to climb up the mountain and go inside.
So you're calling the tire room to be our big key. I'm thinking it's gonna be on Dorj, or no, actually no. I want to say Dark Magician room. So I'm gonna say chest number 8.
Yeah, certainly you're
that's
hoping for a quick one here.
Yeah, because that's right side and then going into left side.
Yeah, it kind of depends how you decide to route that early section. And Fry making the play to, hey, maybe Ice Rod is in here. I mean, if it's not, then you just leave and check Spike Cave. But I think this makes more sense to check, honestly. And again, that's just a 50-50 here, honestly. You know, you either think it was in there, or you go to Spike Cave first. Going to Spike Cave first doesn't feel like a great play, honestly.
If I have dipped in Turtle Rock already, I probably would have went ahead and went into Spike Cave, to be honest. Not gonna lie.
I mean, if those are if that's the last item, you know there's one more item, and you know it's right at the start, you may as well cross your fingers. I feel like that's probably the play that you're usually gonna make, and especially here, like you're going here. Yeah, I suppose you have the Cane of Burna, but yeah, like, man, what are you gonna do? Walk back out? You kind of have to save it again.
Yeah.
So. But FuriousMagic into GT, going left side first.
No, go right side first. Okay. And we are in the skeleton room. I believe that's item check number 4. Wow.
So yeah, that's a pretty quick GT big key, and we have enough small keys that we just go straight up. So we're not gonna have that extremely high collection rate that I kind of hoped for, but you know, I'm happy for FuriousMagic here that, you know, you get to finish off a seed with a nice friendly basement. I'm even more happy for Fry here, because that's the last thing you want at this point when you've like last location like 2 or 3 items. The last thing you want is for GT basement to give you trouble.
Right. Well, thankfully this is a hard open. If this was like Mick Boss Shuffle, Trinex could have been down there, and that would have been where the big key would be at.
Honestly, that's like one of my favorite things about Boss Shuffle is just Trinex being potentially in the mix anywhere.
Like between Trinex being in the Armos 2 and like Vitreous in Mothula boss room, those are kind of the 2 worst places I'd rather that I'll fight those bosses in, and I don't want any of that. Like, I'd rather play a cross keys game than do those bosses in those rooms. But yeah, at this point, it's FuriousMagic race to lose at this point, so we'll see what's going on. They're doing pretty well so far as the going up the gauntlet.
Yeah, a little. I noticed there was a little bit of dropping the ball in like that first Stalfos room. Had a little bit of trouble. That last Stalfos was being a little irritating, but making good time here.
I guess you could say they was being such a bonehead for a while.
Oh, missing those fire rod shots. Okay, that was pretty close there.
So we're still able to handle the first phase for Trinex as they're preparing the finishing touches.
Yeah, I don't know if does Fry have a blue or green potion still?
He bought a green potion, funny enough, so he should be good on this fight.
I know when I was doing the qualifiers for this. I mean, had been a long time since I played, but that was one of the things that I constantly struggled with was running out of magic during the Trinex boss fight.
Yeah.
With guaranteed no half magic, it's actually pretty unforgiving if you don't bring some form of magic refill. If you miss 3 shots, you're out of luck there. But takes care of it. Makes it by the skin of his teeth, as FuriousMagic is on to Aga 2.
Yeah,
misses the triple there by a hair.
But yeah, it seems like relatively a dungeon's length in comparison time, so to say.
Yeah, about the length of GT. Come on, Fry, do it. Do it for me. Come on, Fry. You know you want to. Ah, left hanging. But yeah, this is honestly, worst case scenario. At this point, FuriousMagic would have to royally screw up on the Ganon fight to lose this race. And as much as we love a close race, I think that's the last thing any of us want to see is that poor of a performance on Ganon.
Yeah.
I think we'd like to have a little bit more faith in all of our runners than that.
Speaking of which, do give a follow to our runners in their respective channels for doing a fantastic job of handling the seed. And give a follow to our tracker, who's been pushing the buttons and making sure everything was running accordingly. As well, I think they're the restreamer too as well. Esmar, right? I mean, right, Esmar?
No, I'm not the restreamer.
Yeah, you're not the restreamer, you're my commentator, which you should all follow him as well. But yep, it looks like we're gonna get finishing touches on that Ganon here. Oh, an excellent triple.
Nice
to seal the
triple
deal.
there. That's classy. Yeah, that's right. Get your GGs in chat for FuriousMagic taking a 4th straight win in the group stages here with a final time of, drumroll, yeah, 138.14.
Yep, the lead increases, being ahead of the pack after this win. But yeah, it felt like I really did want to see like some huge weird divergences in the progression placement, but this seed decided it wanted to be a little lenient today, as you wanted to play like in a safe way.
Yeah, and you know, it's part of it's a numbers game, and especially if you're playing consistently, it tends to pay off to play more conservatively. But we are joined in the booth by FuriousMagic himself. GG's, my friend.
Hey, GG's. This was a nerve-wracking. Go ahead.
Yeah, we were just kind of saying that this was it felt like a pretty standard seed from watching your gameplay. Everything sort of fell into place more or less for you.
Yeah, I mean, last locating the bow was not great. I was trying to force the double dip of Eastern with that book. I was trying to place it in TR, and that's why I chose TR over Ice.
Okay.
Yeah, so that didn't pan out, and then after that I just put off Ice until it was last location because I figured my opponent had a good chance of doing everything off the mountain before going back up the mountain.
Okay. Yeah, for sure. It definitely it ended up working out that you ended up making it first to the hammer by a significant margin, which definitely helped you sort of cement an early lead.
I was panicking a lot during my escape sequence because
yeah.
I burned an extra bomb and I can't go all the way to the Zealous cell. So I mean, my plan was going to be get the chest and get the boomerang chest, and then just Deathrope on the guard, because at that point it was a 50-50 on if the map was in Zelda Cell or Dark Cross. So actually,
yeah,
either way that would have worked out for me. But yeah, I was.
You got bailed out there with that cane.
Yeah, that was nice for sure.
Fry was just taking. He ended up, I think, last locating that hammer, which definitely led to some aggressive decisions that just unfortunately didn't end up panning out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we talked in the race room a bit. He went to Eastern before getting the hammer. He went to Desert before getting the hammer. I'm not sure what else he did, but yeah, that's unfortunate that he put off the hammer for so long.
Yeah, and I mean, you have your first, I think all three swords logically locked behind doing a dark escape, or doing a swordless escape, bomb escape, pretty much.
Yeah.
You don't come across that too often.
No, yeah. I think we were required to do bomb escape as well, because you can't until you get the Samaria, obviously. But at that point you're already free in.
No
free far in.
Samaria, no bow, no fire rod, no hammer.
Yeah, you're required to go in there.
Bomb escape was required.
Yep. Unless if you let's see, because the key was in the back, so you could have taken the key and then gone into Dark Cross, but I didn't have the lamp at the time and no easy way to guide my way through Dark Cross, so
yeah.
Save that for later. I feel like I got lucky with the Bonk Rocks play into the mountain. My original plan was to do Bonk Rocks, Old Man, Spectacle Rock, and then do that Out of Logic Spike Cave there. But the hookshot being in Bonk Rocks was pretty nice.
Yeah, for sure. That was a pretty big pull.
Yeah, it let me avoid Pod Eastern for a bit longer, even though I still ended up dipping those two dungeons spellless. But yeah, I don't know. I thought there were a lot of gotchas in this seed. The Fire Rod, the Fake Medallion, the Ice Rod. They were not, yeah, those locations were not exactly great. So
yeah,
I'm glad I got all. Yeah, I'm glad I got all those, but the bow eluded me for a bit.
I mean, as it does when it's Fire Rod is where it was, and you end up with Mushroom in Ice Palace. It's.
Yeah, when I saw that,
I think 9 times out of 10 you're finding that bow pretty late.
Yeah, when I saw that, I'm like, oh no. If I went to Ice Palace before, TR, I would have absolutely checked Mushroom before TR, which, would have saved me a good chunk of time, but didn't pan out that way. But yeah, it still turned out fine, so I'll take it.
And Fry's finishing up here.
Yep, get your GGs out for Fry as they cross the bridge, finishing up with the time of 1 hour, 44 minutes, and 13 seconds.
Yeah, for as stressful as it seemed on the right side there, it only ends up being about 6 minutes difference. So
yeah, not too far off from each other.
It felt worlds apart side by side, but it was a much closer race than it appeared. We're joined here by saltyphry. GGs.
GGs.
Hello, GGs.
Yeah, GG's Fry.
So what was your overall pin opinion on that scene?
Well, less the seed and more just how it worked out for me is generally it felt like nothing worked out for me. It felt like the things that I did kind of felt like might have worked out in my favor, like getting the book that led to the Quake medallion early. Just ended up being like the totally wrong thing that I wanted to have happen. Instead, I ended up missing everything else. So like, I don't know. It just feels like everything that could have possibly gone wrong kind of did in this one. I don't know. It kind of sums up how everything kind of feels like it's going in this tournament so far for me. But that's just it.
Yeah, watching that Turtle Rock play, I'm sure I speak for a lot of us watching that we were really hoping that it is something turned up there. We were still looking for.
I mean,
I think you were part of the way through already when we saw Ice Rod, maybe if I because FuriousMagic found Ice Rod first.
Yeah, there's a lot of those little things. Like I could have found the bow at that point in time, either rod, I guess, it would have been all right. So there would have been a lot of little things. Like I guess even bombos would have opened up a few things. Like even like when I was still on my way to like Laser Bridge, like getting to Laser Bridge doesn't feel that bad because like you're getting there. There's 4 chests there. You're like, there's a decent chance something could be here at this point in time. I mean, that actually let me get all the way in for once.
Getting through.
Well, that's it. Is you get all the way through, right? Like how often is that, right? Yeah. No, that's exactly it. You're getting all the way through, and like it doesn't feel that bad, and then you get there, and I think I got the shovel in there. I think I pulled out of there, and you're like, okay, maybe, but yeah, no. Like that turns out like that was like the one fetch quest kind of type thing that didn't have something, right? Like there was the mushroom that did, the book that did. Right, like all these other things didn't. And
I mean, the powder didn't either, but that was free enough that you both got that one too.
Yeah.
But yeah, it really just it was one of those seeds where you got so much progression that like there are a lot of seeds where Graveyard Ledge isn't that late of a check, and that would if that had been checked early, that would have changed a lot. But given the items that you guys both found, that just sort of that can just kept getting kicked down the road. So
I feel like this would have went a lot better for me had I just not gone to Eastern early. If I had stayed out of Eastern, I could have probably gotten the Fire Rod, and if I gotten the Fire Rod, I just feel like this would have played out so much better that way. Just going to Eastern early was the big thing that screwed up everything in the long run, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's also hard to fault the decision to do that over Bomb Escape. It's definitely
no, I'm not
normal to do Eastern with.
No, absolutely. But I'm just saying, like that's like where like the big kind of thing went all wrong in this seed. That's kind of like when I look at it, like that's going to be the big thing. Like nothing else I can really fault myself for. Like missing Fire Rod, like I wasn't going to have the mirror when I was kind of in that area the first time. So getting back there was always going to be a pain in the butt. Spike Cave, like the cane was in Pod, I think, right? Is that right? I don't even remember where that was. So yeah, that was never going to be.
The cane was in Escape.
No, Blue Cane.
Cane of Burna, but yeah, Blue Cane. Now that was in Pod.
Left
so chest in the dark room.
Yes, so that would have been what was logically leaned for. Spike Cave. Although I guess you could have gotten through other ways. Yeah, so that's just one of those things.
Yeah, well, I think you need to win one of your following games with FuriousMagic to make brackets.
Yeah, I guess I still got one more shot tomorrow, same time. See what happens. Yeah. hopefully get some. I'm worried we're gonna get Ambrosia, 'cause that's the one moto I haven't got yet. Hopefully maybe he's had like 2 matches in it, so there's at least a good chance that we get like some sort of key sanity or a mixed shuffle.
I have played 2 key sanities and 1 inverted keys. I've already burned all my keys cards, so.
Uh-oh.
Oh god, we're gonna do Ambrosia tomorrow, probably.
I don't like Ambrosia either. It has not been nice to me.
I think it's so poetic how much everybody hates Ambrosia. It seems. Nobody seems to love it. Nobody.
I don't really like open either at this point in time. Like I've been playing this so long, I'm just more into modes where there's more going on at this point in time. Open and standard just kind of blah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And actually,
that's
I mean,
understandable.
I do kind of miss commentating entrance rando, but definitely makes sense to not mix it in.
Like I just
love
came
entrance
from
randos
doing
so
pretty decently actually in the All Dungeons Keys tournament. And that's obviously like a completely different mindset than this one, where you're kind of trying to
Right.
efficiently last location stuff. And this one, I've just been last locationing stuff as inefficiently as possible, which doesn't really work in non-all dungeons modes.
Yeah, I don't think I have any other questions unless you do.
Yeah, I think that about does it for me. We've got both end credit screens on there. Collection rates actually a bit lower than I was anticipating. I think the early
Fairly big key for Ganon.
early key in GT kind of played into that a little bit, but
I just want to say
I think
quickly,
that'll do it.
I just want to say quickly, thank you guys for coming. Thank you, Iker, for tracking. Appreciate that. And thank you guys for putting on the restream.
Yeah, for sure. I think right now it may be over at this point. We've got another race going on at over on ALTTP Randomizer. That one also started at 9:10. There's another one at 11:10 over on SpeedGaming 4. That's going to be Jejo versus Spleedy.
Yep, so if you're up for some more speedrunning action tonight, that's where you can look for. And if that's not if you're tuckered out for the night and you just still want to watch some more races, we do have a schedule for more races later on down the line for this week, if I'm not mistaken. You can always check that out at the tournament's main website. And do give a follow to our runners in their respective channels for doing a fantastic job of clearing up this seed for us. A big thanks to our tracker for keeping the buttons and all pushed and nicely lit up for us to keep track of where was what and what happened. And give a follow to my co-commentator, who
you were too kind.
did a fantastic job of making sure I was on the right track too, because I was just lost in the sauce for a moment there. But
yeah, this is great. We still got a lot more randomizer coming your way, so stay tuned. Keep your finger on that pulse, and we will see you all next time.